Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah.
Melanated!
Welcome to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé Season 5. What is on my lips is Kat Von D's Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the color Vampira. I love it. Okay, let's jump right into this. If you guys didn't watch my video that I posted up maybe a couple minutes before I posted this one up, hopefully I got them up both tonight. Go ahead and check out my review for 90 Day Fiancé. I believe it's episode 4. This is going to be 90 Day Fiancé episode 5, season 5. Let's jump right into it. I took a lot of notes. This was a 2-hour episode, girl, and it was a pretty good episode. It actually moved the plot along, and finally in the 5th episode of this season, girl, we get to meet the last couple. It took forever. We're about halfway through whatever's going on with Annie and David before they even introduced Ika and Josh. Oh, if you guys are wondering, these earrings were made by my friend Mina. My friend Mina has a jewelry company called Vintage Royalty, and you can find her stuff on Etsy. I will try to link it down in the description box. So the first couple we're going to talk about is Nicole and Azan. So Nicole and Azan have been in Casablanca now for I think about 10 days, 11 days. The last time Nicole came to Morocco to visit Azan, he did not take her out at all. And so she made a pact with her mother that if when they got to his town, his city that he lives in, if he didn't take her out, then she was gonna leave. And I think that's a little bit because she might feel that he's a little bit embarrassed of her. And, you know, before they leave Casablanca, Azan takes May and Nicole out sightseeing a little bit. So the first place they go is a mosque, like a very famous mosque. And Nicole I think she pretends to be interested in it because Azan is interested in it. But like, as a human in this world who's seeing a mosque, she's not that interested in it. I think it's kind of like someone taking you to go see St. Peter's Cathedral in New York City and you just kind of being like, cool. And Azan was really excited to talk about it because he was hoping that May is so young that possibly if Nicole and him work out, that maybe Nicole would consider allowing May to become Muslim or at least study Islam. And Nicole, who doesn't seem to me like a very staunch Christian, I don't know her life, is a little bit not into it. I think Azan more so wants May to have the opportunity to choose to study Islam if that's what she wants. And the same thing he wants for his kids. Like, he doesn't want to force his kids to do any religion that they're not into, but he wants it to be definitely a part of their life or an option in their life, which 100%, like, why wouldn't you want that if that was your religion and a big part of your life? After the mosque, they go to a marketplace and they have May on a leash, which, guys, if you watch this show, I normally make fun of people who have their kids on a leash, but May is definitely a kid that needs to be on a leash, especially in a busy marketplace in a foreign country. Like, girl, Azan was talking about how embarrassed he was a little bit because he felt people looking at him and staring at him, especially because having your kid on a leash is like frowned upon. I'm sure it's something that they never see. And he said that if his mother actually saw him with May on a leash, she would hit him in the face. I feel like Azan sees May as a distraction. I feel like Azan is more into having May in his life and teaching her and raising her than he is really about Nicole. When they get to Azan's family's house, the family is so excited to see May. They immediately embrace her and pick her up and love every second of her. It's Azan's aunt, Azan's mother, I believe a cousin, and like maybe one other person that I don't remember who it was. But they are very open and welcoming to Nicole. They say they miss her. I mean, I didn't watch their season, so to know that his family is so welcoming and warm to her really warms my heart and also makes me understand why she is so invested in this, because his family really digs her, so why not? Azan feels pressure to ask his aunt if they can stay in the same room, even though he knows the answer is going to be no and that it's kind of shameful to ask, but he feels pressure from Nicole to ask. He feels like if he doesn't ask his aunt for permission, that Nicole's going to be mad at him for not even trying. So after he asks, and it's awkward and tense for a moment, and the aunt says no, and even Azan's mom, who is there, is kind of like, the idea of asking a conservative Muslim family to be allowed to sleep in the same room as a guy that you're not married with, like the fact that she can't even have the foresight to see that that might put Azan in a weird predicament. The fact that she like even wants him to ask, she's like, well, you never know if you don't ask. And I'm like, no, you know the answer's no. So Azan asks, and he's so embarrassed to do so, and then afterwards he says, you know, whew, thank God that's over. And she's like, oh, you didn't have to ask if you weren't comfortable? And he's like, yes, I did. You would have been mad. And she's like, no, I wouldn't have. Later on in their scene, they go out to eat. Azan admits that he doesn't trust Nicole because she cheated on him, which I don't understand what that means. She cheated on him before she came to visit him the first time. I personally feel that if you're in an online relationship with someone who you've never even physically met to touch, if you like date or go out or kiss or whatever someone else, okay. I don't take it seriously until we actually meet each other face to face and decide we want to like do this thing. How did she cheat on Azan? Like, I just, whatever. In front of the producers, both of them are sitting side by side. So Azan and Nicole end up having a conversation where he talks about her taking off her ring when she gets back to the United States after she left Morocco the first time, and her going out with friends. And she's just like, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, like, Azan, you can't do anything about what she does in the United States when you're not there. So why even worry about it? Why even talk about it? Why did Nicole even say anything to him about it? Like, why, you guys? Keep it yourself. It doesn't matter. Like, you guys aren't in the same place. Like, your relationship isn't real. She says that, and then the producers ask her who she went out with, and she says that it was a guy friend. And that is some information that she never told Azan. So right there in this moment, you see his reaction of being shocked that the time she took off her ring and went out, it was with a guy. She had initially told him it was with a girl, and she realizes that she put her foot in her mouth and said things she wasn't supposed to say. Then she gets up, says that the interview is over, and is mad at the producer for accidentally getting her to tell the truth. And then they go outside, and Azan is pissed. He doesn't want to talk to her. He is so mad. And they have a conversation the next day regarding it, and she's just like, please forgive me, please. And I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I'm watching her beg and him contemplate. And I think, Azan, do you really want the K1 visa that bad that you're gonna let Nicole cheat on you and you're gonna forgive her? This would be the second time she cheated on you. And you're gonna forgive her? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone watching them. Nicole does not seem... These two people are having the conversation and you can barely take it serious. You're just like, Azan, do you really like Nicole? And if so, why? She like doesn't give a shit about how she looks. Okay, and I think that's where my frustration comes in. Like, I feel like Nicole does not care about herself. Every time I see her, she just looks tired and washed out. And I feel like Azan does. I feel like Azan is put together. His outfits are cute. You know, he like cares. Because why would you put up with anything that she does? Her weight has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's just the way she carries herself and how she dresses herself and how she presents herself. Fundamentally, I have a problem with that. And I don't know why. So let me just let that go right there. All right, so the next couple we have is Elizabeth and Andre. Elizabeth is really just worried. She gets to Dublin. She's so happy to see Andre. Andre ends up breaking the news to her that he has got his interview. She is so excited. And she's like, oh my God, I thought you were gonna tell me that we were gonna break up. And he was like, why would I tell you that? Also, why would I tell you that in the airport as you're landing? And she's just like, I don't know. They get back to his place and he is just not worried about this interview girl. Like, not at all. We find out that Andre is a bouncer at a club, which, okay, he might make good money and tips and other things like that. He seems like he's a pretty tall, big guy, so cool. Andre also admits that he has committed a crime, or he did do something bad over 10 years ago, and he's just like, babe, don't worry about it. And this is what we discover later on in this episode, is that Andre doesn't really care about coming to the US to live. He has a healthy life in Dublin, so he's not like super crazy about like getting the K1 visa, because he's like, you'll just move here and we'll live together here. Now here's the kicker. Elizabeth doesn't want to move to Dublin. Why would you expect him to move, but you wouldn't do the same? That was my only qualm. And also, like, it's not like Elizabeth has a career. And I don't want to downplay what she does for her dad, but she doesn't have a career that she's building for herself in the US. She works for her dad's company. Like, you know, she could get a job in Dublin and figure out her skill set. Like, I don't know, maybe she didn't, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't have any skill set besides working in the family business, but she could figure it out. If she would expect him to come to the US and figure it out, she could go to Dublin and figure it out. He's a little sexist, I feel, in a way that's like, so 1995. Like, he kept saying he can't control how his interview is gonna go because if the interviewer is having a bad day, they might be mean. And I'm just like, why would you assume that if you didn't get the K1 visa, it was because the interviewer is having a bad day? I really hope that Andre is not aggressive to the interviewer, because it seems like he is. He's like, wasn't prepared for the practice interview that Elizabeth did with him. He was very aggressive, and it was like, why? These are the questions that they're gonna ask you, and if you aren't interested in acing this interview, then why are you even doing this process to begin with? Why not just demand that she move to Dublin? I feel like he's one of those people who like doesn't want to do what they need to do to get something. Like, he doesn't want to kiss butt, but you need to get what you want. So if sometimes you have to kiss butt to get what you want, why not kiss butt? Like, your stubbornness is going to hold you back in the long run from doing a lot of things in life, and it just seems so wasteful. So the next couple that we're going to talk about is Molly and Luis, and this is a very intense, awkward episode for the both of them. It's been a couple weeks, and Luis is very bored. He is used to fast city life and noise, and he's in a quiet area of Georgia, and he's with Kinsley a lot. He says stuck babysitting because Molly is making her money. And I don't think Luis was prepared to be a house husband. That is exactly what he's gonna be until he can get a job. They're outside and he's teaching her Spanish, and it's so cute, and they're playing with chalk outside on the deck. And then all of a sudden he says something to Kingsley that's like, I'm gonna be your new dad. And Kingsley gets like confused, and she's like, no, I have a dad. And he's like, but I'm gonna marry your mother, so I'm gonna be your dad. It's padre. And she's just like, no, you're not my dad. And he says, yes, I am. And she's like, I have a dad. No, you are not. And so for me, I don't understand why Luis just didn't say, oh no, I'm not your dad, but I will be here. Like something. It's like he wants her to call him dad or something. It's just like this weird moment. I don't think that he wants her to call, but like he's trying to convey to her that he's gonna be the man of the house. And it's not the conversation that he should be having. And it upsets her, and she doesn't want to talk to him anymore. And she doesn't talk to him for like the rest of the day, and she's like standoffish. Kingsley's legitimately pissed. She's legitimately pissed. Like, can't believe you just said that. Who do you think you are? So later on, Molly takes Luis to meet her dad. And this is a tense time because dad, it can't be cordial or decent to Luis. Like, Luis is so nervous that he's awkward. He shakes his hand. He doesn't really say hi. He's not prepared for this at all. They're sitting down and they're having their lunch or dinner or whatever they're having outside at the picnic table. Dad starts to ask questions to Luis, and Luis answers them the best that he can. One of the questions is, in your country, do you speak Spanish? I don't understand what about Luis's accent or the country that he's from that leads Molly's dad to ask Luis that question. And he's just like, does everyone speak Spanish? Can't fathom a country where everyone speaks Spanish or everyone speaks another language. I'm worried that you're using this situation to get to the United States, and what do you do for a job? You're a bartender. And I'm like, first of all, don't knock being a bartender, because depending on what city you are in, you can make bank as a bartender. There is nothing wrong with being in the service industry. And it's just really this tense moment, and Olivia chimes in and she, talks about how fast it is that they're getting married. So it's kind of like Olivia and Grandpa like ganging up against Molly, and Molly is just kind of by herself trying to defend herself. When I see Olivia's boyfriend, I feel like it's the queen who has married the court jester. I know that this is like such an offshoot because they don't talk to him at all, and you only see like half of his face, but the half that I saw leads me to believe that Olivia could do so much better. He looks like a squire and she's the queen. Like, he looks like the guy who helps you get on your horse. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like she's gonna look back on pictures of him when she gets older and be like, why did I date him? I hope he is the nicest boy. I hope he is the nicest boy she's ever met in her entire life. So Luis has a conversation with his family, and he tells his family that he's lonely and that it's boring, and his family just tells him to forge through and to try to make the best of the situation. He tells them that, the dad and Olivia doesn't like him, and he's just like, I don't think he's in a good place. When they film this, he's not in a good place, especially because Kingsley's now mad at him, Olivia is mad at him, Molly is never there. It's really, really quiet. He's lonely. He has nothing to do. I get it, Luis. It could be hard. So he's just gonna have to do the best that he can. And as long as he can Skype with his family as much as possible, I think that might take the edge off. But he needs a friend.